And Ty come with the whoop whoop juice.
The whoop whoop juice.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Straight politicking on all you mofos out there. And I'm here with my co-host, as I am every week, Munchie B, the mayor from out of Inglewood. And I got another guest co-host this week rocking with us. Bro is heavy in the music industry. I know him from his work with Akon. Also, he was managing one of the biggest rising stars back around in the 2000s named Dolla, rest in peace. And he's from out of West L.A. T-Money's in the house.
What's up, man?
It's the big old deal.
Also, I did an interview with T-Money.
Years ago.
I'm going to say 2016 maybe? 17, 16?
Probably longer than that.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
If it's 2016, you was hitting everybody 2016.
Hey, man, I was like around 14, 15, 16. I was hitting everybody up, you know.
It was before that.
It was before that, huh?
Way before that.
Yeah, I think we posted up in Hollywood that time.
Yeah, that was probably like 2010 or something like that.
I think maybe I'll say
it wasn't that. It wasn't 2016 because 2014, I caught the case. The ledge, they tried to accuse me of the Suge shit.
Okay.
I fought that case for 2 years till 2016, and then I end up beating the case, but they convicted me with felon with a firearm, so I end up going with the felon.
When you say the Suge shit, you talking about that the Chris Brown incident in Hollywood?
Yeah.
For real? They tried to accuse you of that?
Yeah.
So you got acquitted of that?
Yeah, they threw the case out or whatever, but I had to fight it. I fought it for 2 years.
Okay, and is that when you had the same attorney that defended Aubrey Berry?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And did you take a lot of backlash for that, right?
Yeah, from the family. But it's my family. You know what I'm saying? Dolla mom is like my family. Her sisters is my sisters and stuff like that. So, it was an emotional situation. So, I understood. But, I was just trying to get them to understand me like I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah, and I think for those who don't understand, and Munchie probably don't know what we're talking about.
No.
The guy who defended Aubrey Berry, who was accused of killing Dolla, attorney Howard Price, eventually, a couple of years later, a few years later, T-Money hired that same lawyer to defend his case.
Yeah.
I would say that makes sense if you seen that based on despite who he represented, you seen what kind of job he did. You feel me? And you got it.
But you're dealing with women and you're dealing with emotions
And family.
and family. You know what I'm saying? So
And you were close to Dolla's family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hell yeah, still is.
So they probably like, damn, this guy hired the same lawyer that defended Dolla's killer.
Yeah.
But hey, Howard Price at that time, I know he's much older now. He's probably almost 80 years old now.
Yeah, Howard up there.
Yeah, he's up there. But at that time, he was cold in that courtroom.
He's still fighting cases though because one of my little peoples and shit caught a case, and shit, I sent Howard to them and he beat the case.
Hey, I got an interview with Howard Price after the acquittal. It's a cold interview. It's never been posted. It's never been seen.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, but he in there confident, like, yeah, I defended, bro. We won that. Yeah. You know.
I talked to him about it though. He told me how he beat it, and I don't want to get all in that, but because he was my attorney, I asked him like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? That was my little brother. That was like my kid. He was signed to me, but more than that, he was family. You know what I'm saying? He was my family."
So that must have been a little awkward in the beginning of your relationship with Howard Price, the attorney, when you first.
No,
met him?
Howard didn't kill him. The DA didn't do their job, and I'm not. And again, when you're dealing with parents and when you're dealing with family, they think a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's like this. It's like one of those things. Well, I wasn't wishing jail on Aubrey. You know what I'm saying? Because our mentality is different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Dolla was the same type of person. Like, I don't think he would have been wishing. I think it would have been, Dolla probably would have been more like, we're going to get at this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but like I said, when you're dealing with women and you're dealing with family, it's a different outlook on it. So, the DA didn't do their job correctly. You see what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot of lies. Even, like, from the beginning of them saying that I socked Aubrey first. You know what I'm saying?
In Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
But
I wasn't even in Atlanta.
But they said the guy with the crown tattoo around his head.
They coached him.
Okay.
Because I wasn't even in Atlanta.
Okay.
So for him to say the person with the crown of thorns on his head, somebody had to coach him and tell him that because I was nowhere near Atlanta.
I was sitting there and I heard that.
I was nowhere near Atlanta.
And the first thing I said was, "Oh shit, T Money was there."
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I know. I think
so they caught him in that lie or whatever, and that still didn't even help the case. So the DA basically didn't do their job because if you're saying that I socked you first, the guy with the crown of thorns on his head, and I'm nowhere in nowhere in Atlanta, that means somebody coached you and told you I had the crown of thorns on my head.
Yeah. Now, did you ever think how coincidental it was that Aubrey and Dolla crossed paths in Atlanta in that club, and then 2 weeks later they're crossing paths at PF Chang in LA from Atlanta to Los Angeles?
Yeah, what's so crazy is God don't make no mistakes, and of course we don't look at life. I mean, this is again like it was a coincidence. Like, you had all these rumors that Aubrey followed him.
Yeah,
and all this. That was bullshit because Dolla went to a whole nother state first for a show before he got to LA. He was throwing his girlfriend at the time a birthday party. Her name was Crystal, and she's from here, but she went to school in Atlanta. So he was gonna throw her a party. I was actually in Atlanta. It was this little girl named Lexi that I was trying to sign. I had Vincent Herbert wanted to sign her over at Interscope. So I was out there meeting with her parents or whatever the case may be. It was a group called Rock City. Toronto used to be signed to Akon or whatever the case may be. They did a lot of writing for her or whatever. So Vincent Herbert and them liked the songs they wanted to sign. So I was in Atlanta when it actually happened. Dolla and them were on their way back to Atlanta after they threw the party or whatever the case may be. And he went, from my understanding, they were supposed to go to Chipotle. Chipotle was across the street at the time from PF Chang's at the Beverly Center. PF Chang's at the time was Dolla's favorite restaurant. So when he seen PF Chang's, he like, let's just go to PF Chang's. Then they were supposed to order to go. And then he was like, let's sit down and eat. So it was just really a real coincidence that, you know what I'm saying, that they end up at PF Chang's. Like, everybody was telling me he basically argued to go to PF Chang's, and they like, nah, let's go to Chipotle, take this car back to the rental-car place, get on the plane, and get back to Atlanta. But, him being who he is, and everybody, all right, well, Dolla said, let's go. And they went to PF Chang's, and, it went from there.
And this was 2009, I believe, Munch.
Yeah.
And Aubrey went to I think they put him in high power, I'm not sure, but you were in and out of the county jail around 2009, weren't you, Munch?
Yeah, I was in there. Oh, no, and no 10.
So he got acquitted in 2010 and got arrested in 2009. Did you hear about this case when you was sitting in there?
Yeah, but I wasn't familiar with the dude's name, Aubrey, but I was, everybody heard about the Dolla, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Situation. And then I heard the theory, too, follow them. I'm like, when I heard that, I thought it was crazy. Like, damn, he on it like that, you feel me? So it sounded more believable that it was a coincidence. I'm like, cause niggas ain't jumping planes following nobody. You know what I'm saying?
No, it was a hell of a coincidence. It was like a coincidence that almost didn't even happen.
Yeah.
That and I find it bizarre. Like, I don't know if it was like a week or two apart, but they're in Atlanta and they get into it. And then 2 weeks later they're in Los Angeles and they cross paths and get into it.
So do this Aubrey do we do music? What do we do? Or just
I think he went to school in Atlanta, and Dolla's girlfriend actually knew him. I think they went to school together. Really, the whole thing was a misunderstanding. It was I guess however the fight broke out in Atlanta at the strip club was really a misunderstanding. Again, I wasn't there. From my understanding and my conversation with my people, it was a misunderstanding. And after the fact of that happening, everybody knew mutual people. So everybody got on the phone and squashed it. So they had seen Aubrey multiple times in Atlanta before he even got to LA. So the coincidence of him bumping into him, what I heard, and I don't know, this is a alleged thing. I don't know the person who Aubrey was with, but whoever he was with, I guess when Aubrey walked to the bathroom, he seen Dolla and them, came back to his seat, and was telling the dude, like, yo, the guys that I got into it with are over there. And I guess supposedly, again, I don't know who he was. I don't know his name. I don't even know how the dude looked. Was telling him, like, oh, yeah, they run LA, this and that, this and this, or whatever the case may be. You better get them before they get you. And I guess kind of like pumped a little bit of fear in them because listen, I kind of believe that because I'm from LA. I was born and raised in LA. There's no way in the world I could see my worst enemy unless he has a gun and he's drawing down on me. I'm not shooting nobody in the Beverly Center in the Valet.
Yeah, it is crazy location to shoot somebody.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm from here. We see niggas that we don't get along all the time in the Beverly Center. This is in Beverly Hills. It's like, you go your way, I'm going to go my way. I'm not doing that inside the Valet in the Beverly Center in Beverly Hills.
Gotta wait for your keys.
Yeah, so it's like, at the end of the day, I think it was more out of being fearful, which I don't think anything was going to happen. Like I said, I heard it was squashed from the gate. Like, after it happened, again, my name came up out there, and they were like, oh, T-Money's family, and then I heard they all got on the phone or whatnot. So, I know, like I said, I wasn't there, and I wasn't there for neither situation, and I wish I was,
Now, the guy you're talking about, he came to court and testified, and if I remember correctly, he told Aubrey told him, those are the guys I got into it with in Atlanta, and then he said something about Mansfield Gangster Crip, and then the dude was like, well, if them dudes is Crips, you need to hurry up and get up out of here and just go. And they didn't even finish what they were doing at the table in the restaurant.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. So when he left out, I guess, Dolla and them continued to eat their food. They had to pay a bill and everything. And I think it was something, if I'm not mistaken, you were there. So if I'm not mistaken, they were saying that Dolla and them didn't pay their bill, and then come to find out they did. So they had to wait for their bill. They were trying to say, like, oh, I guess Aubrey went out and Dolla and them followed them out, but that wasn't true. That ended up not being true. They end up paying their bill. They end up finished eating and paying their bill. So that means Aubrey waited for them out there.
Yeah, they did pay their bill, but they did show video of inside PF Chang of Aubrey leaving. He goes out, and then like within less than a minute, Dolla and the two other brothers that he was with.
He was with Shabazz.
DJ Shabazz and Scrapp, and then Psy.
Yeah.
And the video shows Dolla and the two guys walking out. I don't recall if they showed that part. They just the prosecution wanted to show, or Howard, the defense wanted to show that as soon as Aubrey left, they left too after him.
Yeah, but how was it literally a minute? Because if they had to wait for a check and pay a bill, that means they had to tell somebody to go get the thing and pay the bill. So what I'm saying is like they try to say that they didn't pay their bill, so that they was like, oh, they just got up right, but that's not true. So that's another lie. You know what I'm saying? First I socked them, then they didn't pay their bill, and the truth didn't come up. So the DA just didn't do their job well,
Yeah, and then one of the things that really I think hurt the prosecution's case is that Howard wanted to show a whole bunch of videos from YouTube of Dolla, and the judge was like, nah, I'm not gonna let you show all of those. I think it was like 10 videos. He said, I'll let you show 2. And he showed 2. He showed the one where he was going off on some dude named
Two pistols.
2 pistols. Yeah.
Who
was going off on him?
Dolla did a video like going off on 2 pistols, like he was gonna do something to him. So they showed that one.
Yeah, he ended up socking him out.
Yeah.
I remember that 2 pistols, dude.
Yeah.
He had like a one-hit wonder type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was the same video, but that he also there was a clip where Dolla said, "Yeah, my mama told me I should whip your ass or something like that."
My mama.
And mom was in court, when they were playing that, so it was kind of like, it was a whole unfortunate situation.
Yeah, but I mean, just in reality though, like Dolla and them didn't have no gun or nothing like that. So how was they pretty much a threat to him? They didn't have no gun or anything like that. Like I said, they was caught in so many lies. But again, like I'm not sitting here saying this to say, oh, he should have went to jail or whatever the case may be. I'm just more of saying like, the DA didn't do his job, and then I'm just referring back to, family being emotional or whatever the case may be, and me using Howard Price,
Did Howard ever tell you that they offered him a deal and he turned it down?
Nah, he told me that I asked him literally, I'm like, man, how'd you beat that case? Like, literally, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no charges, like no assault charges. You shoot somebody and then you shoot at everybody with them and they don't have a gun and this and that. And he was like, the music. He basically told me the music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what music did they hear? Because we never dropped the album. Like, what music did y'all hear?
I think
Who the fuck is that?
No, I think they had lyrics. I don't know if they played the music or if they just had the lyrics on the screen of the music.
Yeah, but to what song?
Right.
He only had 2 songs, huh?
Yeah, we had Make a Toast, which had nothing to do with no gangster shit, and we had Who the fuck is that? That really wasn't, it was real commercial.
No, I think it was more of the YouTube videos, not the music. But I have to go. I got a whole notebook of notes from that trial.
Yeah.
You know, it was the same prosecutor that did Snoop Dogg's case in '92 that he got acquitted of. Same exact.
That prosecutor's just horrible.
Yeah, he trash. Huh?
No. I think. What if those are the only 2 cases he lost? You know.
Nah, we need. I get in trouble. I want that prosecutor.
Nah, but
that motherfucker don't do their job.
But he's definitely a good guy prosecutor. He ain't like, I'm sure you guys have seen prosecutors that have just play dirty.
How you a good guy prosecutor when he lying, putting people in places they wasn't?
Well, he
put him in Atlanta. He wasn't there.
I wouldn't say he lying. He's just going off of information that he's getting. So he's gonna run with it.
But it came out that it was a lie. I'm nowhere in Atlanta, nowhere near Atlanta.
Yeah.
And y'all talking about tattoos that's on my head. So when a person say, well, how did you know it was T-Money? Oh, because I recognized and seen the tattoo on his head. Somebody is coaching you. Mm-hmm. Nigga, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Was nowhere, not even in the city, let alone inside Platinum 21. I was nowhere in the city. So somebody was coaching him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the DA is getting this information, and they supposed to go do their research to make sure this is true.
Right.
Well, you know, they're going to run with whatever the police tell them. I think the police came up with all this information.
So it's a gang expert that got up there, of course, right?
Nah, there was really no
gang expert got up there?
Nah, the only gang thing that came up is they wanted to show that Dolla had Mansfield tattooed on the inside of his finger. He had an MFGC that the prosecutor was trying to not let that out. I could tell they were hiding the Mansfield tattoo, and Howard was like, we got to get that tattoo in, and he got it in. I think that that helped also. Got that tattoo in.
So the prosecution didn't, because they always want the gang expert to get up there. The prosecution didn't want that.
Nah, they didn't want nothing to do with gang.
No FYI cards or none of that though.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically, right? A hypothetical question. All right, but yet and still, whether it was a Mansfield tattoo, I don't give what type of tattoo it was or what type of gang affiliation they felt like he had or thought he had or knew he had. There's no self-defense law in Los Angeles, right?
They say that.
Well, they say it is, but it's
if you get acquitted of because it wasn't like Aubrey Berry was saying I didn't do it. He's saying I did it, but this is why I did it.
But why did he do it? Why? Because you thought they were gonna beat you up?
Yeah, it was basically I feared for my life defense.
Yeah, but there was never no threats towards Aubrey Berry, whatever. It was a fight that was in Atlanta that was prior, months before, that was actually squashed. They actually had bumped into Aubrey multiple times in Atlanta. They was on the phone with him. One of my other people got on the phone with him and told him, my bad, but if you feel a certain way, we can get a head up fade. He was like, no, and it was left alone. Dolla didn't have a gun. Shabazz didn't have a gun. Scrapp didn't have a gun. Side didn't have a gun. So where was the threat at?
It sounded like that lawyer got a relationship with that DA.
What do you mean?
Because he put a magic trick. Because, like, you saying, like, you wasn't standing your ground. Nobody posed the threat.
Nah, what Howard did was he played the gang card that prosecutors always do to gang members. But it was the other way around now. You know what I'm saying?
But where's his music he referring to that he used the music to sway the
No, I don't really think it was the music. Plus, here's another thing. Aubrey Berry had a squeaky clean record. Like, never been in trouble in his life. His grandfather came and testified. You know what his grandfather's job was? He was the chief of police for the Houston School District.
There you go.
So he was like, Aubrey was the perfect. he was sort of like the perfect defendant. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, them politics kicked in. That's all that was.
And then he testified on his own behalf. He got up there and took the stand and told his version.
But again,
that shit still don't make sense.
It don't make sense. The politics still kicked in. I get what you're saying. And again, like I said, like Dolla wasn't a threat at the time. You know what I'm saying? Psy wasn't a threat. Shabazz wasn't a threat. And Scrapp wasn't a threat. You know what I'm saying? Shabazz not even black. He Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was on some gang banging shit or whatever the case may be. So it wasn't that. So again, like there was no gun, there was no knife, there was no nothing. So where was the threat at? For you to have to use a gun. They didn't rush you. They didn't jump you at the Beverly Center. They didn't do that. Mm-hmm. So where was the threat at?
It was obviously on offense.
Yeah, I see both sides. Actually.
No, listen, I get it. I understand it. Like you got into it with him before. Which, matter of fact, you didn't get into it with Dolla. You got into it with somebody else that was with Dolla. So at the end of the day, it's a lot that plays into that. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not sitting here like the kid should be in jail, this and that, because we don't believe in that. Moms and them probably like, fuck him, he should go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
sisters
definitely.
and them. But we don't come from that element. So my thing is not like, oh, he should be in jail. He should go to jail. Now, if he'd have got found guilty, that's on them. Even from the jump, right? That's why Scrapp and nobody testified. You know? And maybe that probably hurt the case too because nobody wanted to testify that was there.
I think Psy did come, but Scrapp definitely didn't come.
Yeah.
But I think, did Shabazz go?
Yeah, I don't know if Shabazz would. And if he did, he didn't say anything. It's like, because our whole thing, even when we talked amongst ourselves, it was like, they got to do their job. We're not going to sit on no stand. I wasn't there to go sit on the stand.
It would have helped, though, if Shabazz came up there or Scrapp.
But we don't play by them rules or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It's just like what happened in Atlanta, right? And he got beat up. Now, if people would have went to jail, we would have been mad at him for coming to court. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, he a snitch, this and that. So it's the same thing. It's in the Beverly Center, in the valet. It's on camera. Y'all do y'all job. We're not going to help y'all do y'all job. You know? I wasn't there, so I wasn't going to help anyway. And even if I was there, I wouldn't have got on the stand. And amongst us, we were saying, like, we're not getting on no stand. We don't live by those type of rules.
See, what I'm hearing now is just all the intricacies. I'd never heard this before. All I heard was like what everybody else heard, like that's out, like super outsiders. You know what I'm saying? But listening now, I wonder what he wondering how you beat something like that.
Hey, I always
without anybody getting on the stand. It's like that's kind of like some you a Freemason type lawyer type shit. Cause
you just heard what he said. It said his grandfather was the chief of police in Houston. The politics kicked in.
Man, that's in Houston though. That's not even L.A.
Man, it's all the same, bro.
He came and testified about how good of a kid that Aubrey Berry was. Also, the judge, Michael Pastor, he's a very fair judge. He don't be shitting on the defenses.
Man, you said the judge is fair and a prosecutor.
Yeah, so when you got a fair judge and a fair prosecutor, and you're the defendant, you got a good chance of winning. You know, as long as your attorney works his magic.
So what you saying is you had a fair judge, fair prosecutor, and a good attorney. No witnesses showed up.
You had a really good attorney, a private, really good attorney.
And then you had somebody that was a cold character witness.
Oh yeah, that was. I was sitting in there. I was like, I already knew. I said, bro's getting acquitted. I said he was getting acquitted like after the third day.
So I had a I'm gonna say his name because I don't even know if you want me to say his name, but I had a Bells bombing, right? They all know each other. We've been using the same Bells bombing since we were kids. Like, of course, like me being a kid, I wasn't getting bailed out, but like it's one of my people's best friends. You know what I'm saying? And we've been knowing him since we were kids. So he was bailing all the homies out. Like that's who we go through still to this day, right? And when I caught the case of the Suge shit, right? He the one that bailed me out, and he was like, when I got Howard or whatever the case, maybe he told me, he was like, hey, he said, from the jump, he said, Howard told me he was going to beat that case. He told the brother, he's like, I'm going to win this case. So I'm going to win this case. Like, so when he told me that, the Bells bombing told me that because they all know each other, you know.
I think Howard knew he was going to win it after a couple of days because he did.
He told him before the case even started.
Well, Howard told Aubrey that this offer that's on the table is a good offer. You might want to consider the offer. And Aubrey told him, I'm not accepting no offers. We going to trial.
See, he had a fear factor. If he was scared at PF Chang's of the Mansfields. And this is my thing. I go to jail, it's gonna be more there.
Oh yeah, no.
So I'm not
in
taking
trouble
no,
going to jail.
Right. So I'm not taking no deal. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me ask you this: if Munchie and his homeboys beat me up 5 months ago, right? They beat me up, boom, and I see them in the Beverly Center. They don't have no gun, no nothing. I just see them and just start shooting. You think I'm gonna beat that case?
You'll get life. It's gonna be a gang retaliation.
You can beat that case, but you can't take this. You can't take the stand though.
It's gonna be a gang.
You got to let your lawyer work his magic.
It's gonna be a gang related shooting.
Man, ain't no listen. I hear you, but ain't no way in the world. I don't think because again, like I said, we don't have a stand your ground law or none of that stuff.
But you basically say self defense.
On what?
What do you mean on what?
Man, they
Well,
got
how's it self defense? They beat me up. I should have shot them then.
right.
When they was whooping my ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till I see them 2 months later in the Beverly Center and say, there go the dudes that jumped me and then sue. If I say that, or if my attorney, if that's the narrative, I'm going to jail forever. They don't give a
All right, disclaimer. Like we said, we ain't pushing for nobody to go to jail.
Yeah.
But in my mind, at the very least, that should have been a manslaughter. You know what I'm saying?
or assault. Because you shot at everybody. You shot multiple times. And there's everybody there. You got a girl there. You got the DJ there. You got Scrapp. You shot one. You don't even get an assault charge. You get nothing. Again, I feel like the politics kicked in. You know what I'm saying? From what I'm hearing, he had like some good prominent people in Houston, his family, kind of locked in with certain things or whatever the case may be. Like you said his grandfather was the chief of police. Those are politics, man.
So that's the first time you heard the chief of police thing.
Well, he was
Yeah,
chief,
that was the first time I heard that. But I
chief
heard
of-
that his people was somebody.
chief of the school police in Houston, not the actual city of Houston, but like
Same
how like
difference.
yeah, like LA has.
You know people. If I'm
Yeah.
the chief of anything, I know
Yeah,
somebody.
Yeah, like we got Inglewood School Police.
And I'm sure the jury was impressed. I was looking at the jury and I'm like, okay, they liking this dude Aubrey. They feeling him. He's on the stand. He was on the stand for 2 days. The prosecution was grilling him like, why'd you bring a gun to L.A.? Did you know that was illegal to bring a gun?
That's another thing. He
Yeah.
brought a gun all the way from a different state.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Flew
See, that's
with
what I'm
the
saying.
Well, the thing with him is he didn't. No, it turned out he did declare his gun.
No, he did. They say
Declare
he checked it in.
But him driving around with the gun here in L.A. was illegal.
But-
Having it on him.
It ain't supposed to be connected.
Yeah, he can travel. He could bring it here. It's supposed to stay in the car or in your hotel. He had it on him.
See?
Yeah, but that was only that charge would have only landed him 1 year in jail, and he already sat in the
Well, that's
county
what I'm
jail.
saying. He didn't get nothing. No assault charges, no nothing. And again, I'm not, what you call it, saying like he
Yeah.
should be in jail. I don't wish that on anybody. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the way that we were raised, and it just sounds crazy. And when you look at certain things, like, yeah, it sounds crazy. But I mean, we're conditioned this way or whatnot. Some of us play by the rules and some of us don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live by some barbaric standards. But no, for real. But when it comes to like DAs, the best DAs, they good liars. They basically just paint pictures. They put narratives together, paint a good picture. You know what I'm saying? Put bullshit witnesses up there that's gonna go with their narrative, and then them people that's in that jury, like you said, they was sold. Just
Yeah.
based off him having an uncle that's a law-abiding citizen, even though he did a crime.
Yeah, he was just a good defendant. That's for Howard Price. He was probably saying, "I got the perfect defendant here. Never been in trouble. Never been to jail. His family is good family. College graduate. I mean, everything that you need to help your case, he had it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to
That's
ask.
why I went and got him, though. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
I didn't-
definitely.
I didn't do it. I'm getting accused of something that I didn't do. But however, I'm from here. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I needed the best attorney to make sure, they know that this kid didn't do that. Like,
All right, Alex, let me ask you a question. So how you think that would look if I go get in some trouble and I go get the lawyer that defended Drakeo to defend me in the future?
Hey, I wouldn't even trip on which lawyer you picked to help you fight for your life. I personally didn't care that T-Money hired Howard Price, but I knew that the family might be feeling a certain kind of way because you're tied into the family, and he helped get the guy off that killed their kid.
That's expected, though, for them to feel that way.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
family
yeah.
is mourning, especially the women in the family.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
That's all it was. It was the women. It was more of like, it was his mom and his two sisters that I really been knowing since they were kids, and I know they love me, and I love them to death, Me and moms end up talking about it. Me and one of the other sisters talked about it. One of the other sisters is still mad at me. But, again, I know she loves me or whatever the case may be, but it's just like I said, it's an emotion. And when you don't understand certain things, and I was fighting for my life for something that I didn't do. And I don't have a clean record,
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I needed somebody to defend me to the best of their ability. And when I seen that, and this is why I'm asking you these questions, like me seeing what he did for Aubrey, it's like, there's no, in my head, I'm like, there's no way in the world this kid should have got off. I'm not there in court saying, I didn't even go to one of the court days. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go to 9-1 court date. Again, for that reason, because I heard my name was coming up a lot in the court.
Yeah, your name was all up in that trial.
Yeah. So, and again, I had nothing I wasn't even there, but everybody is like, oh, T-Money, T-Money, T-Money.
Yeah. No, there are certain defense attorneys that are just as good or even better than the prosecutors. And those are the defense attorneys you want to have when you're fighting for your life. So, and I bet you probably could. Well, I know it. If I was T-Money, I'd probably not only hire Howard Price, but I'm gonna make sure I get the discount because you got off the killer of my homeboy, so I'm gonna get the homeboy discount also.
Nah, it ain't gonna work that way.
I ain't getting no discount. Our price gonna hit you in the head, boy.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Wasn't no damn discount.
You think his age taking a toll on him? He's still whooping cases like that, you think?
Well, just recently, a couple of years ago, I put him on a case that one of my family members had, and he beat it. He beat the case. He's older. I don't think he's really taking too many cases anymore, but and then one of my other homeboys that I didn't even know was using him before I even knew about Howard Price, and the conversation came up because of this, and my homeboy was like, shit, every case that he had, Howard beat for him.
Nah, he's definitely. I was impressed. This was the first time I ever seen him.
Howard, if somebody see this shit and you start getting a bunch of phone calls, now I need a discount. We promoting your ass.
I'm gonna see when did he take the bar, just to see how long he's been around.
He fought he was one of the lawyers on the under lawyers on OJ case, right?
Nah, he wasn't on the
I said that was a cold team.
I think he was.
On the Dream Team?
Yeah, Google it.
No, definitely.
Yes, I think he was.
I could name all the lawyers on
Nah, definitely I think Howard Price was on there.
Let's figure. Let's see.
See if Howard Price was on there.
It looks like Howard Price passed the bar in 1968.
Oh, damn.
He passed the bar in 1960.
Google that. I'm pretty sure he was one of the under attorneys on the OJ case.
He was an attorney before Crippin' and Bloodin' was going on. He cold.
Yeah, his office in Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, nah, I'm almost certain.
Nah, look it up.
No, I don't even gotta look it up. I can tell you every lawyer
I'm telling
on the
you.
Dream Team.
Are they the lawyers on the Dream Team?
Miss Holly, Kardashian, Barry Sheck, Johnny Cochran, F. Lee Bailey, Alan Dershowitz. That's the Dream Team. And Carl Douglas. I just named 7 attorneys.
It was more attorneys on it. That's why I said an under attorney. Google it. I'm finna try to Google it now.
Hey, how much money did OJ spend on that case?
Oh, those 7 attorneys. Miss Holly is still around. She was young back then. She was the one that was going to defend Tory Lanez, but she got off the case.
These lawyers be quitters, bro.
I think her and Tory were not on the same page.
Tory's probably hidden.
And also Carl Douglas Carl Douglas is the most winningest civil attorney in American history for lawsuits. So he was on the Dream Team, and he was on the biggest civil case against a car manufacturer for $1 billion. So,
I think if I'm not mistaken, they were saying there was other attorneys. There was like he had a whole bunch of attorneys that was doing a lot of the paperwork and like going to find a lot of information. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Howard was one of them, but I could be wrong.
No,
he's probably involved though, doing some footwork. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm gonna go Wack100 on y'all. How much you want to bet? I got $1 million. I got $1 million. You got $1 million? Put up $1 million T money.
Bet $1 million.
Let's bet $1 million.
You know I ain't got no million.
All right, 500,000. 500,000.
10,000. Man, all right, bro. Even though I know you lying, we're not betting.
That's when I know bro is lying.
You wanna bet a house?
Yeah. Nah. But I wanted to ask you about Scrapp because one day I was watching TV.
Who is Scrapp?
Scrapp was one of the guys that was with Dolla when he got killed at the Beverly Center.
Okay.
And I'm watching TV one day, and bro was on like a reality. Was he on a reality show?
Yeah, he was.
What was that all about?
Oh, nothing. He
I didn't even know he was even in the entertainment like that.
Yeah, nah, he did. You know, he was in a group with Dolla. Him, Dolla, and Saz was in the Rascals crew together.
Yeah.
Before, and they had 2 deals. They had to deal with when we first started. They had to deal with DreamWorks. That deal folded. That was the Scrap. All right, so Dolla and Scrap and Saz are real brothers. Dolla is their cousin, but they all say they're brothers, and that's what we're gonna leave it at. And you can't tell them they're not brothers because they are.
Yeah.
But and I'm saying that so people can understand. Like the first deal, Scrap, Saz's mom Karen got them to deal with DreamWorks. We were just doing like helping writing and stuff like that. It was a few of us just helping with the writing. And then they went to Elektrs with Sylvia Rhone. And I think Sylvia Rhone left Elektrs. I don't know the situation there. But they already have been on tour with like B2K and stuff like that. And when she left Elektrs, well, I think what she signed got shelved. And then that's when Dolla wanted to go solo. And then I started my company, which was the Gang Entertainment. And then we did the company together. Well, basically, I did the company, and then when I signed him, I was going to manage him. And my attorney, Matt Middleton, was like, that's a conflict of interest pretty much. Like, you can't have him sign and manage. So we decided to just go half on the company. So 50% of the company was his. I took 50%. And at that point, him being my business partner, I could manage him. And so I ended up giving him 50% of the company and and then end up managing them or whatever the case may be. But Scrap and Saz always been in the business, doing music, writing, stuff like that. And then they were working with Stevie J back in the day. So he was doing a production for the group also. It was different producers like Polo and shit like that. But Stevie J was also doing some stuff. And Stevie J, ended up being big on that show. And he got them on the show.
Oh, what was the name of that show?
It was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Okay.
That's the only Love and Hip Hop I ever watched, though. When Stevie J was on there, that dude was entertaining. He was funny.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I never even watched. But with Stevie J, he a class actor. He funny.
Yeah, man, that was an unfortunate situation.
Stevie J be a good interview. Hey, tap in, Stevie.
Now, was Akon going to be doing work with Dolla at that time?
But we did a joint venture with Akon, so it was our company. We did a Slash Convict, and Jive was our distribution company. So we did a joint venture with Akon. So we was with Akon before like everything even kicked off for Akon, because Akon brother, he has another brother, Boo and Omar, but he has another brother named Mozart that was actually doing a lot of production for the Rascals crew, for the group. So we were going to the studio where Khan and Lil Zane and everybody was at, Because Lil Zane, we was all like in the same little circle or whatever the case may be at that time.
And then I saw a video. They may have even showed this video in the trial where Dolla and T.I were hanging out and chopping it up.
Yeah. So what happened was, we were at Record Plant, and I was Dolla's favorite artist, and I went to go talk to Mike Bloomstein, who was T-Pain's manager at the time. And when I put up there, T.I was at Record Plant, and this is at the time he's fighting his case. And he had the little ankle thing on it. And so when I seen him, I'm like, damn, this Dolla's favorite artist. I didn't really know T.I at the time like that. But he kept it a buck with us and shit. He was like, I was like, yo, you ever heard of Dolla? And he was like, I know who he is. He was saying that he only had heard like one song, which was really the Who the Fuck Is That record with T-Pain. And I was like, yo, can I play some shit for you? And he was like, yeah. I played some shit, and he was like, man, this young nigga hard, this and that. And he was like, I'm about to sign this kid. And the kid was Meek Mill. So he introduced me to Meek Mill, and I had called Dolla, like, where you at? Dolla was like, shit, I'm on the block. And I'm like, shit, come up to Record Plant right now. So when he came up to Record Plant, I was like, T.I up here. And so he came up there, and we were all talking. He introduced us to Meek. Meek and Dolla kind of got close or whatever. And
What year was this?
this was 2007, I think, 2008, and around that time. And then every time T.I had curfew at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and every time he went, he had to go in. He told us like, "Yo, y'all just stay in the studio. Y'all can keep the studio, whatever the case may be." I guess it was already been paid for, whether it was him. I think he was on Atlantic at the time. I'm not sure. But he was trying to finish his album, so sometimes we would go in there and there'll be this artist in this room, this artist in this room. He had the whole studio booked out, I think, except for one room, and he was trying to finish his album. So Meek and Dolla end up doing songs. Dolla and T.I end up doing songs and shit like
So
that.
these are songs we've never heard.
Yeah, songs that you never heard before.
So where are these songs at now?
We got them.
Okay.
We got them. And then Cavi was doing a lot of producing with T.I at the time. You know the producer Cavi, right? From Compton with the freckles. Good dude.
Okay.
He a known producer or whatever the case may be. But yeah, T.I was with him tough. So like if it's on YouTube too, it's just me, Dolla, and Cavi, like just talking or whatever. And T.I kept it a buck with us, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just he didn't have to do what he did or whatever. He just, let us use the studio and was like, y'all stay in here or whatever after he was leaving. And when I asked him, could I holler at him? He was like, yeah, he could have been on some shit like, nah, I ain't got time. He was like, yeah. And he sat in that room with him and listened to them songs and was like, yeah, this nigga hard.
Man, it's like all this music you guys got. Are we ever gonna hear it? Is it ever gonna come out?
I have plans for it to come out. I'm trying to put myself in a position to where, because I've always been on the business side of it, and I just actually did a deal with Busta for myself, and we just put out a video and put out a song. So I'm just trying to get in a position to where I have that platform to be able to do what I need to do for it to reach the people that need to reach. I just don't want to put it out, especially nowadays because everything is revolving around content and popularity. It's about being popular. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to put myself in a position because there's a lot of things I want to do.
Maybe save it for a future documentary.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't want to do it and it don't reach the masses. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to put myself in a position so that it reaches the masses.
Yeah, everything be timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about how the DA wanted to pin the Suge Knight situation on you, if you can?
Well, at the end of the day, it was just all he say, she say. It was just people just running their mouth. And I don't know why people felt like I had something to do with it, but that's what got out. They came and got me maybe like a couple of months later. And again,
Did you get to look through Discovery to see who was telling on you or anything like that?
Nah, that's another thing. They wouldn't show anything. They wouldn't show nothing. Like, it was a lot of redacted statements and everything, and how it was trying to, put in to get them was like telling them like, yo, how can I fight this case if I don't know what I'm fighting? Whatever.
Yeah, you got the right to face your accuser. So whoever was, you know what I'm saying, implicating, not implementing, anybody was implicating you, you were supposed to be able to know who was doing it. You know what I'm saying?
And then Howard asked the DA, like, where is it set? And the DA was like, they didn't have it. It was like the judge wouldn't give it to them either. So they ended up throwing it out and then just charging me with a convicted felon with a firearm.
Yeah, people got to know the hearsay is not admissible once you get bound over to superior. So all that I heard, shit, that's only gonna get you so far.
Yeah, because eventually witnesses got to show themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And but that club that night, I heard it was packed. It was I don't know, hundreds of people. I think Suge put a theory out there that somebody let people in through the side door, so that weren't supposed to be there.
It was all kind of shit. This is what's the funniest. Like, it was all kind of shit. Like, so I just did a song and I mentioned it or whatever, and I kind of threw a subliminal out there, right? But I just did that for clickbait because you have the Rolling Stone magazine saying that I said that Dr. Dre paid me to do this. And it's like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, that's admitting a crime. And it's like, I didn't have nothing to do with it, first of all. You know what I'm saying? And so,
then you would have got Dr. Dre booked.
Yeah, then it was like, then they saying that the police helped me in the club after I allegedly did the shooting, that the police took me to the airport and got me. It was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, an incident happened, I guess. I didn't have nothing to do with it. Like, I went out the next night. I went to Supper Club the next night and performed. You know what I'm saying? I had a song out with Too Short and I performed, and it's like everybody's like, and I'm like, dog, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, what the fuck is going on? So, you know what I'm saying? This magazine. So I didn't even know, like, so because of the timeline, so you can get it, so I can get it straight. I didn't know that it was in the magazine until I got out from fighting the case from when them charging me convicted felon with a firearm. You see what I'm saying? So this whole time that I'm fighting this case, I never seen the magazine. I don't think it was even out. Then when I went to go do my time, when I got out, when I was in there, I guess it happened, and people was telling me. And then when I came home, then I seen it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they like, I said, Dr. Dre paid me to do something. I'm like, I don't even fucking know Dr. Dre.
Do you remember who wrote that article?
I don't even know Dr. Dre.
Fucking Rolling Stone.
No, who's the author?
I don't know. So I tried to sue for
Defamation.
defamation of character, right? And the attorney told me that I couldn't because they was like, magazines have clemency and they're only reporting what they're being told, right? So I'm like, but it says I said. It's not quoting anything. It's saying that I said that Dr. Dre paid me. I ain't said nothing. I said, so at the end of the day, they fucking off my money. Mm-hmm. Like, people might not want to work with me no more, don't want me to write for them no more, don't want to do deals with me no more, or whatever the case may be. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, and they was like, you can. And I'm like, they like, magazines have clemency. They're reporting what they've been told. And so when what they've been told. So when I had the attorney go do the research, they was saying that, if I'm not mistaken, that dude told the attorney to say that because he was trying to sue Dr. Dre.
Well, I found a 2016 article from Rolling Stone where Suge Knight is suing Chris Brown over him getting shot.
Why not the club? Why the person that was hosting?
That's what I'm saying. He was trying to sue Dre too. They was trying to sue Dre. So if you
and the club, actually it says One Oak Club also.
Yeah, because you could get One Oak. If you're getting shot inside somebody's establishment, you got that. That's a slam dunk. But how you gonna sue Chris Brown because it's his party?
You can sue anybody you want in America. It's just can you make the case? Do you know whatever happened with that lawsuit?
No, I don't.
Yeah, neither do I. And actually, Suge Knight is in a civil case right now. Terry Carter's family is suing him for wrongful death. Mm-hmm. They got a mistrial in 2023, and the retrial is supposed to be starting like right now.
For civil suit.
Civil suit.
Oh, okay.
And if he loses the civil suit, it could damage any ability for him to make money.
That's what I'm saying. He ain't got no bread as of now.
Well, he's making money doing these podcasts. He's charging $10,000 to do one episode.
What happened to Collect Call?
He charged that guy whatever. I think it was several thousand per episode. Now he's doing Art of the Dialogue, and he pays.
Yeah, Art go pay.
Yeah, Art go pay. And so let's say he loses this lawsuit. Guess what? All that money is going to go to the Terry Carter family, because they're suing for like $50 million or something crazy.
Yeah, he ain't got that. So basically, it's liens on everything he about to have.
Did you ever have a relationship with Suge Knight?
I never had a relationship with him, but we were cool, like in passing and shit like that. Like I've had conversations with him, but I don't have like a personal relationship with him. You know what I'm saying? It was always like, oh, what's up? Shake his hand when I see him and keep on moving.
It's crazy. Suge so stuck in the past in the 90s on how things went, right? Because he was in communication with this girl I was dealing with, and I hollered at him, you know what I'm saying? And we was talking about the performance at the Super Bowl with Snoop Dogg and all that. And he asked me, like, man, being that it's at SoFi in Inglewood, man, y'all should have pushed up there. Why y'all didn't fuck them fools up? I'm thinking, like, I don't know how you think we about to get in SoFi Stadium. I don't know what he was doing in the 90s and what's the award shows and shit, but I'm like, yeah, huh? But,
He's trying to get you to catch a case, huh?
I guess.
Pulling up. He gonna have what's the guy's name? Butts. He gonna have Butts.
Oh yeah, Mayor Jane Butts.
Mayor Butts is going. Ain't letting nobody mess with SoFi.
Hell nah.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you, T Money. Something to do with. Yeah. Years ago, you had a video. I forget the name of the song, but you asked. I don't know if you asked me to post it or if I offered to post it. Mm-hmm. But what I recall in that video was Big U pulled up in the video, in that song.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, what were your whole thoughts, man? Bro just got indicted in one of the craziest L.A. Ricos we've ever heard.
Free Big U.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really don't have too much to say about it, man. Like, my relationship with him was different. You know what I'm saying? I've never known him to be. I think what happened is a lot of this social media shit, man. People found a way to get paid off of it. You know what I'm saying? So the more popular you are, I guess the more money you're gonna get or whatnot, right? So I think, because he was always genuine with me. I don't know what he did on his own time or whatever, but I know a lot of people that he dealt with in the industry, and they've never said anything to me like he was pressing them and doing all that. I think a lot of those relationships were genuine, and I think where things get mixed up is like when you're talking about checking in, right?
Yeah.
The check-in thing it's not a bad thing, right? And I'm going to say this because everywhere I go, I check in.
Right.
When I go to New York, I check in. I call who I need to call to be safe. It's a difference from paying somebody or saying, oh, I'm going to pay you for protection. It's not that. And I don't think a lot of those guys were doing that with him. I think they had genuine relationships with him, and they were calling, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Because, again, when I go, I don't care. I can't wait to check in when I go to a different state because you might meet a girl and she might be like, oh, come over to this lounge. I'm calling somebody I know in that city like, yo, this girl just invited me to this lounge. Should I be over here? Should I go over there? I didn't have people tell me like T-Money, like, yeah, it's cool, but don't go over there with your jury. Or they be like, yo, I'm going to meet you over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yeah, that's next to this project. That's next to this. Like, it's cool to go over there, but don't wear no jury. You know what I'm saying? Don't bring no attention to yourself. Or they be like, well, I'll meet you over there. Even if it's food places, I'll be like, yo, I want to go try this food place. Like, what's up? Like, I'm going to meet you over there. Or like, nah, you good over there. Go ahead over there. I want to check in everywhere I go. I can't wait to meet somebody that got a good name and a good face in that city because I need to make it back to L.A. safe.
Yeah.
I'm in somebody else's backyard. So I think they took the word check in and misused it and making it seem like when you check in that you're paying everybody and you got to pay and all that. And it's not that.
Hey, man, we're going to switch it to tap in. Just tap in. You land, tap in with us. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no checking in on, you ain't checking in nowhere but your Airbnb or your wherever you staying, because that check-in shit is getting people in trouble.
Yeah, it is.
And Hitman Holla should have tapped in, because I know he tried to go to Hawkins to get him a burger, and he got stripped like a dancer at Deja Vu.
Yeah, so, see, shit like that.
You got to be aware. I don't know. Why would he go to Hawkins without the right? I don't know.
But so I think they got him looking like he's like this animal, man. Like he just, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and it's not even like that, man. I'm 100% sure he had some genuine relationships with a lot of these people. Now, if he was doing certain things like that, that's on him and those people, and they only know that. You know what I'm saying? But you have so many different people that have a certain type of narrative that they're pushing or whatever the case may be, and is making him look like a monster. Because I know I done went to him for certain things, and you know, he been open hands with me, like, yo, like, man, I need you to do this, whether it was like some music shit or whether it was even relationship wise, like to get in touch with like certain people. Like I know he has a better relationship with T.I than I do, right? I'm cool with T.I, but sometimes I'm like, oh, yo, you think T.I get on this record? And I'll call him like, man, see if T.I get on this record for me. It's just like if you know Snoop real well, and I might know him and I might be cool with him, but you have a better relationship with him. So I'm like, yo, like Alex, man, see if Snoop would jump on this record for me. So every time I've asked him to do something for me in that manner, he like, yo, let me see what's going on. And then he might call me back and be like, yeah, they not doing nothing right now. Are they working on their album, man? You know, we're going to try to hit them later and see if they'll do it or whatever the case may be. Because if it was a press thing, then it would have been like, nigga, do this record for the homie. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you're absolutely right, because I actually had to call him up a couple of months ago. Really, I called him from Munch, and while I'm calling him up to ask him, hey, can you holler at such and such for me? Bro was like, hold on, and did it on the phone while I'm on the phone with him.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, and made it happen like that.
Yeah,
So
man.
basically, Alex called on my behalf to get something done for me and for the viewers, the civilians, the squares, whatever. My gang is rival to the Rolling 60s. He didn't have to do that for me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, shit, now, I ain't getting pressed, squeezed, you know what I'm saying? And shit, we supposed to be quote unquote rivals. So I don't know, federales, man. Free that man.
Yeah, I've never had a bad encounter with him, and I've never had a situation I had anybody tell me like, he was doing this or doing that. That's my encounter, like what he got going on with Wack and whoever else. That's there. But even when I went up to No Jumper, right?
I was just about to ask you, when they fell out, Wack and Big U, how did Big U feel that you were still cool with Wack?
He didn't feel no way. Okay, let me tell you something. So when I went up there, right?
Yeah.
Adam was like something about Big U. Wax killed him immediately and was like, "Don't do that," because he got his own relationship with Big U. Don't do that. So I respected Wack for that because it was like, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been knowing Wack since we was kids. You know what I'm saying? We was in juvenile hall together and all that type of stuff or whatever. I've been knowing him for a long time, right? So before I even said something, I was like, don't do that. But Wack was like, nah, don't do that because he has his own relationship with him. That's why I said, like, I don't get in their business. I'm not taking neither one of their sides. It's a lot of shit, right? It's a lot of shit that Wack say and do that I don't condone, right? However, he has his reason, and it's a lot of the stuff, I ain't gonna lie, be right. Like the shit that he say, I think he just says things at the wrong time during people's emotion. Like, example, right? And I don't really mean to like bring this up like this, but I'm using this as the example, right? So when he was saying about Nip, the gang banging and the snitch thing or whatever, when that happened to Nip, right? All of us was fucked up over it. Even the motherfucker that wasn't close to him was fucked up over it because of the situation, the way it happened, what Nip was trying to bring to the community, right? But what Wack was saying was that if you speak on something that's gang related, then you have to be prepared for that. That's just like if I got something against Munchie or I'm saying something about Munchie, right? And it's politicking and it's gang shit. Whatever I say to Munchie or whatever I do, I better be prepared for the reaction of Munchie because I don't know how he's going to react. So if I'm going to be politicking, then I need to have my hammer on me at all times. I need to be prepared. My head need to be on a swivel. So when he said that, he was saying more on a gang level. Like, if you're participating in gang activity or you politicking on gang activity, you have to somewhat be ready. You see what I'm saying? And people got mad at him for saying that.
So I could agree that Wack timing be horrible. Right?
Horrible.
Horrible. If he said a lot of this stuff a year later, instead of in that time, it'd be received different.
Yes.
So I could say that. And on top of that, his delivery be horrible.
Yeah.
It'd be a little too it ain't got no cut on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
that's real.
So I could see that. But then he's an antagonist. He keeps shit going. He do shit for shock value. He about to he gonna laugh before he even get it out. So you know it's bullshit. Cause I didn't study his habits. I'm like,
well, I think bro is a pathological liar, like,
but see,
to the ultimate level.
But if he is right, he's entertaining. This is a business. He's entertaining. I'm not saying he's lying or he's not lying. You see what I'm saying? That's not my business, and it's not my business what he's saying and what he's doing on his podcast or on his platform. You see what I'm saying?
But what if he decided to tell a crazy lie about you? You just gonna sit there and say, "Well, that's just entertainment."
It just happened. It just happened with the paperwork with Sad, right? The narrative of me giving him the paperwork
is because he don't want to work with you.
Is no. So first of all, I didn't start that narrative of with Big Sad, right? It came out and people start calling me. Right? They start calling me and asking me, was it true? When I found out, I didn't know nothing about it, right? So this is what really happened. What really happened was I've been knowing Sad since he was young, right? I was putting the Blood of Crip and the Mexican in the group together, and I had auditions, and me and Akon was filming it for a TV show, right? The TV show was literally going to get picked up. E1 was going to pick up the TV show. Sad came to the audition. Kid couldn't rap at all.
You kidding me?
He couldn't rap at all.
Wow.
He was trying to freestyle.
Because I think he's nice.
No. Listen. Yeah,
remember what he said right there, and I'm going to double back on that. Go ahead.
So, at that time, he got up there, and he just was freestyling and dissing. It was horrible, right? And he didn't take it personal. He didn't get picked or whatever the case may be. A lot of people didn't get picked, right? So, he went and worked on his craft. I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm not denying that kid is not good, right? So, I'm one of the only people in West LA. In West LA, not LA, but in West LA, that everybody know as far as the music shit because of the Dollar situation. They know I was with Akon. So a lot of people used to reach out to me all the time about the music situation or whatever the case may be. So at the time of this kid getting hot, I guess everybody is calling me, right? And they like, yo, you heard sad, and I'm like, shit, nah. So they start sending me stuff. Or whatever the case may be. I'm like, oh, he kind of nice or whatever. So I would bump into Sad. Like, Sad would be rolling through. I'll say what's up to him, this and that, shake his hand. He'd be like, what should I be doing or whatnot? So I'm giving him, like, what he should be doing. Like, I never wanted to sign him or tried to sign him. I never wanted to manage him, never asked to manage him. We were just cool, you know what I'm saying? So, Adam, my homeboy Adam, Easy No Steroids that Dolly used to mention all the time, you know, he was like, man, you should fuck with him. So, Swiss was in jail, fighting his case, and based on what he was getting accused of, you know what I'm saying? What he was getting accused of, I asked him as my homie. Like, he's younger than me. I didn't have to, but I did, just out of respect. I said, yo, you care if I f Sad? You know what I'm saying? Because his alleged situation was supposed to be on their homies. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, you know? But this is what he's getting accused of, right? So I said, you mind if I was Sad? He like hell no. Nah. And I'm like, why? And he was like, they got down on me. Or lied on me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. So I just backed up. I never knew. All these years, I never knew. So then when it started coming out, Sad started deflecting and try to say that the homie was telling, right? Which is nowhere near true. So at this point, you trying to smut the homie name, right? So now it's time to go get this paperwork. So now the homie like, T-Money, I need you to go, you know what I'm saying? I've been solid this whole time. Listen, I don't got no problems in here with my name or whatever. And he's serious about his name. All right, cool.
You talking about K-Swiss, right?
Serious about his name or whatever the case may be. So boom, start trying to go get the paperwork or whatever the case may be. It was difficult because him being in there, the attorney didn't want to give the paperwork up or whatnot. So at this time, we're still trying to call Sad. Like, because really, a nigga want to just leave this shit alone. But he's not communicating with nobody. He's still trying to say the homie is telling. So we're still trying to like, yo, reach out to this nigga. And he told one of the Damu little homies or whatever the case may be from out the biddies, he ain't doing no talking. So once he said that he ain't doing no talking or whatever the case may be, then that's when the paperwork got given to old boy, to Wack. But before that, I had kept it so quiet and took it to people personally because everybody was calling me. I didn't call nobody. I didn't have nobody number. That shit came out. A nigga called me on three-way. I guess called somebody and was like, is this true? And they was like, well, T-Money from over there. If anybody know, he'll probably know. So when they called me on three-way, I'm getting calls from jail. Calling niggas from jail on three-way, this and that. They like, yo, is this true? And I like, yeah, it's true. I said he tried to clean it up, but yeah, it's true. So we was trying to talk to him to go tell, so he can be like, yo, go tell the truth. And Swiss ain't told on nobody or whatever. He didn't even do what they accusing him of doing. So you see what I'm saying? So then he said he wasn't doing no talking. So that's how the paperwork came out or whatever the case may be. We wasn't going to even do that. But I had took it to certain individuals that he was dealing with just on a under, like here. So the shit that just happened with Hefe saying that, you know, I gave it to Wack or whatever the case may be and didn't give it to him, that wasn't, the timelines was different. I showed him I wasn't going to give it to anybody because I was told not to give it to anybody. But when Sad said he ain't doing no more talking, he ain't want to talk, then that's when I was told to give it to Wack. Like, yo, go ahead and give it to him and do him like he tried to lie on me. You know what I'm saying? He tried to lie on me and smut my name, do the same thing to him. Or as far as not lying, but get a paperwork so it's to the public. You know?
Did you ever pick the three people to be that group? I picked the
3 people.
The Blood, the Crip, and the Mexican?
It was Lefty from... So what happened was I ended up putting myself in the group as the Crip because Dolla got killed. You see what I'm saying? So it was just something like the music shit. I just wanted to keep everything going. But it was Lefty from... where's Lefty from? You know, Lefty... What hood do they used to be saying that Waka Flocka came?
Elm Street.
Yeah, Lefty from Elm Street and Chino Grande.
Okay.
Mexican Chino Grande.
Okay.
So it was me, Chino Grande, and Lefty. And we recorded songs. Shit was hard. You know what I'm saying? And Akon was vouching for the group and all of that shit.
you being so tapped into the music industry for so many years, what type of advice do you give someone like Big Sad, who I look at as a very talented rapper? Like in LA, I put him in the top 10. But he's definitely his name is somewhat tarnished. So where does he go from here in terms of his music career?
Honestly, I don't know. Again, I don't know. I didn't want nothing to do with nothing in the first place. I had somebody else call me and put me in that. And just me being who I am, the homie name is clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a good homie. So at the end of the day, and he had been gone for so long, so it's not like he was out here doing fucked up shit or doing anything. He's fighting for his life on a lie. You see what I'm saying? So for him to be in there fighting the case on a lie, and then his name is being smutted, then I'm like, nah, I don't, that can't happen. I've been doing music for 20-something years. I ain't been in the streets and involved in nothing in forever. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I really don't be indulging in that type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what he gonna do at this point. I mean, people don't, you know what? Actually, people don't even care no more. Like, he still got his core fan base.
Yeah, he had a successful show at the Novo, I think this year.
People don't care.
Yeah.
People don't give a fuck about that shit, you know?
So this was a situation that happened, I think it was 2009 or 8 when the pregnant girl got shot.
I think 9.
And K-Swiss was in the county jail for how many years fighting this case?
Like 11 or 12 before he got his time.
Okay, so and he's home now.
Yeah.
Damn. So, whew, that's a lot. That's a lot of time to be in the L.A. County jail, right?
On a lie.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? On a lie.
I think he needed Howard Price.
He had a good attorney.
He still came out on top.
Yeah, he had a real good attorney.
He ain't got life. He free now.
And they had like 200 and they probably could have just, again, that goes to show you, like, even with the witnesses, they had 200 juries. And I think his mentality was, again, a lot of blacks get found guilty for things that they didn't do. And the way they were portraying him to be or whatever, are involved in gangs and stuff like that, I think he kind of maybe felt like, and I'm assuming, I'm not him, but I'm making an assumption, I think he was like, well, I've been down for so long, and then I take it and do this third trial, and God forbid they find me guilty, and then I never see the day of light. So I think when they were offering him the deal, he's like, yo, I already been down 11, 12 years or whatever. They offering me 20. I've been fighting the case for 13 years. I got to go do 2-3 more years. I can see some sunshine. I got some get back. But he didn't do it. It was all on a lie. So at the end of the day, I think it was just more of him like, I don't want to take the chance of taking this taking it again to trial this third time, and then me getting found guilty, and then I never see the day of light again.
That's a smart move, because the saying is, the prosecution only got to be lucky once. You got to be lucky every single time. Yeah.
So I think that's what that was. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was a sense of, oh, I'm guilty. I think it was more of like, we got 200 juries. They offering me this. If I happen to take it to trial again and God forbid get found guilty, then I'm getting forever. When I could take this deal, do 3 or 4 more years, and come home.
So what's he doing nowadays? Is he gonna?
I think he moved out of town. He don't really, you know what I'm saying? He's not, he's always been a kid that always been about prospering and, business and stuff like that. He always had a good head on his shoulders or whatever the case may be. He's married now. He has a great wife, a good wife. She has a great job or whatever the case may be. Great business, So I think both of them together do good. I think he moved out of town. I'm not sure. He really don't communicate with us like that.
Hey, Munchie, this was 2010 also. This was around the same time Aubrey's in the county jail. And this guy...
Man, I've been back and forth to county jail about 3-4 times. K-Swiss still here.
Yeah.
He was sitting in that county jail for a long time.
Yeah,
but hey, see, as far as content go, like, if it's too grounded, I said this before, I don't touch it. So you had like the Greedo thing and whether he snitched on his homie or not. I would have never even spoke on it, but he went to no jumper pleading his case. Then Big Sad, I'm like, okay, that's some West LA shit. That's between the Mansfields and the Playboys. Some West LA gangster shit. I would have never spoke on it. But he went to no jumper dumb and pleading. Why you presenting your paperwork to a neighborhood Crip anyway? It's Brick Baby and DW Flame, and you explaining yourself. And the politicking don't go down on platforms like that. You go answer to your homies if they, you know what I'm saying, if anything come into question, you know what I'm saying? Something like, so when you bring it to a platform with 5 million subscribers, now Munchie could talk about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now it ain't Crip business, gangster business, or Watts business, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand for the life of me why people go to No Jumper to plead their case, they innocence, whether they good in they hood or not.
I think because it's what we feel are what people feel like is one of the biggest platforms we got in LA. So I think to reach the masses, or for them to feel like they can reach the masses, that's what they do. Because even now, it's just like, even with everything that's going on, people are still going up there and still pleading their case and still doing certain things or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So I think I think people feel like that's the only platform that we have that's that big that will reach the masses that they wanted to reach.
So what's up with Akon nowadays? I don't really hear a lot from him, but when I do hear him, he's always talking about business stuff in Africa, solar business, electricity, not too much music stuff.
Yeah, now he back on his music. I just played Munchie 2 songs he did with me. He signed this producer named Press Play. That's dope. One of the best producers that I know. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's a lot of big producers or whatever the case may be. But I'm saying, like, this is the producer that he hasn't. A lot of people know him, but he hasn't fully had his break yet. You see what I'm saying? Dope as fuck. He signed this girl named Story, I believe. She's from Dallas. He just signed another kid from Dallas named 500 Valley. He's from Dallas also. The girl Story from Dallas. He just did that deal, the 500 Valley. I just met Story. I don't know how long she been signed. And then I think he signed a girls group. I don't know the name of the group. I forgot the name of the group. But I think he's back heavy on his music shit. I know done every genre of music basically, from EDM, pop, R&B, rap, whatever. But he's back heavy on his music shit.
Yeah.
So I gotta get this in, because before we started shooting, I expressed, because I know you got a relationship with Akon, you played a few songs. I was highly disappointed, and a lot of other people was too, that grew up on the song Locked Up. People did time to that song, wrote letters to it, and he put Tekashi 6ix9ine on a, what you would call that? You said it's not a remix.
No, it wasn't a remix. The actual remix was with
Styles P.
With Styles P.
No, wait. Did he put Tekashi 6ix9ine after he became a cooperating witness for the federal government?
After, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why would Akon, Convict Music, put a cooperator on the Locked Up?
I don't know. I don't know if T Money has an answer for that one. Do you?
I do. I mean, I know
Okay.
Khan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for him, but me knowing Khan is a civilian. At the end of the day, he's not involved in no gang shit. He ain't checking in with nobody. You know what I'm saying? He's not affiliated with anybody. That's like my brother. You know what I'm saying? We go way back before his career even just took off. You know what I'm saying? So we have a different type of relationship. I think it was more of the attention that Tekashi was getting and what he was going through. It made sense for Akon, or to Akon, to say, hey, I'm getting locked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm locked up. And I think it's more of this new age shit with the whole social media, the content, the this and that, or whatever the case may be. I didn't like that he did it. That's my boy. That's because of the way that we think and the way that we move. I didn't like it. But at the end of the day, this shit is a business. And Khan is not involved in any fucking gang politics. He's not answering to nobody. He is who he is.
Has he ever been to prison?
Yeah, he been in jail.
Because I'm assuming that based off the song, right?
Yeah, he used to get in a lot of trouble in Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So he's from the streets.
Akon is not a civilian, bro.
He's a street dude.
Yeah.
He is a civilian, though.
What make him a civilian? Bro, he got convict music. He's been to prison before.
And he's got goons that can knock Suge Knight out right next to him.
I didn't have nothing to do with that shit.
That was in Arizona, I believe.
You talking about the Arizona situation?
Akon, sipped some water and they got off. He just like gave it like
I guess Suge was pressing him for some money owed on what art was it? Ray J?
something about a producer or something.
Yeah, Detail.
Oh yeah, Detail. So Akon keeps, he keeps himself.
What makes Akon a civilian?
What makes him a civilian? He's not involved in anything. He's not. Now listen, let me tell you this. What I don't think he'd do, like, I don't think if he's seen something that he'd go tell. I don't think if something happened he would snitch on you or snitch on me or go get on the stand or whatever. But from a music standpoint of content and what was going on at the time, maybe him thinking, oh, this could be big for Tekashi, I can get a check out of it or whatever the case may be. He maybe was thinking like that. But other than that, I don't think he's one of those people. I know he's not one of those people that's going to see something and go tell.
Now, what if he told you, sorry, Munch, but what if he told you, hey, I think I'm going to sign Big Sad. That dude, I love his flow. How would you feel about that?
That's on him.
Yeah.
I have nothing. That has to.
But would you tell him, hey, his name ain't that good? It might not be a good look. Would you try to advise him, or would you just stay out of it completely?
Well, first of all, Akon is a nigga that does his research on shit. Like he knew Tekashi what he was going through. So with Akon always has a fucking plan for something. You just never know he pays attention. A lot of times Akon don't say shit about certain things, but he's paying attention to fucking everything. And that's one thing I know about him. You know what I'm saying? You thinking he don't see shit or hear shit, that nigga hears everything and sees everything and I'll act like he don't know anything. So if he said he was gonna sign Sad, then that would be on him. You know what I'm saying? I personally would have to tell my bro, like, I can't be around you. I'm not mad at you, but I can't be around you.
Okay.
You know
what were you gonna say, Munch?
Okay, putting Tekashi on that song was a business move from a businessman, but I refuse to look at Akon like a civilian. We gotta get a real clean cut definition of civilian, because I don't think he's one of those. But he's a businessman, so he made a business decision and put him on a song. You know what I'm saying? But Akon, nah, he ain't no civilian.
I think it kind of tarnished Wack100's name a little bit when he wanted to socialize with Tekashi 6ix9ine, because every time he jumped on Clubhouse or every time he was on some live, people would always throw that in his face that wasn't a good look.
But then again, him too. He was doing it for, like I said, I'll tell Wack this. I don't like a lot of the things that he say and do. I don't condone it, but he is who he is, right? And I feel like how me and Munchie was saying, he just say certain things at the wrong time during emotional periods. You know what I'm saying? When, like he said, like Munchie said, if he'd have said it 2 weeks later or this and that, it probably would have been received different. But at the heat of the moment, when everybody's emotional and people don't want to hear that shit, because when you're emotional, you don't want to hear that shit. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. It's the same thing like with Dolla Mom and them with the attorney. It took a minute for them to get over it. And at that point, at their life of it, this being fresh, it was like, yo, you should not have used him, basically. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, so with Khan, with Wack, him doing what he's doing, like I said, I don't condone it. I wouldn't have did it, right? But he's not doing nothing with him. He's not doing, like, committing any crimes with the kid or whatever the case may be. I guess he's looking at it as a business aspect. Like, if I can get a check out of him, if I can get him a show booked, if I can get this or whatever the case may be, and I can get me a couple of $100,000, again, we all have different ways that we handle things. I wouldn't have did it. I'm not, if somebody called me for Tekashi or whatever the case may be, I'm not, if I could call Tekashi or whatever the case may be, I probably wouldn't be able to because I wouldn't have his number. But hypothetically, say if I had his number before, right, and we were cool before and he did that, and then somebody called me and was like, oh, I know you used to fuck Tekashi, we trying to book him, I would tell them they would have to go a different route. I'm not doing that. Like, I wouldn't do it. But I can't be mad at a nigga this is how he's feeding his family, or he found a loophole in the system to get money or whatever. I can't. I'm not knocking on nigga for that. I can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of the times what people don't understand, like we seeing all of this person is snitch, that person is snitch, this person telling, this and that. Especially in the federals, a lot of the times if they're really telling, you're not going to see their name.
Right.
At all.
Right.
So when people are saying, oh, well, where's the paperwork? A confidential informant. Do you hear what? Confidential.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's why it's confidential. You know what I'm saying? You are not supposed to know. So the people who's really working and really working for those people, we'll probably never see their name in any
But the
paperwork
person
anywhere.
that's getting told on more than likely no, but it'd be hard for him to prove to other people that this the one telling on him.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same situation that FG was in. Mob James wore a wire on FG. Mob James is the confidential informant in the paperwork. It don't say Mob James or James McDonald anywhere in the paperwork, and if it does, it's redacted.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
see, but that's what I'm saying. So you don't see their name,
Yeah.
but you have to have somebody to say. You have to have somebody to say, "Well, I know that's him because he told on me.
Right.
It was me that was told on, so I know that's him."
And then you got to trust that person for accusing someone of
But-
being the confidential
Yeah.
informant.
So the world, when you're saying where's the paperwork, where's the paper, when it comes to federal, a lot of the times you're not going to see the name because it's confidential.
Yes, sir. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
So it's hard to prove. So you have to literally say, well, I'm in here, and this is the only person that I know I went and met up with that time. This is the only person that I know that did this, or whatever the case may be. This is the only person I know that had that blue car with the red seats and this and that and this and that, and that's who I went and met with. So that's how I know who's telling on me.
And then they go give you the key suit. They go give you the blick, like, well, handle your business. He told on you. And then you got to lay the yard down.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of the time when people are saying, well, who is this? Who is, oh, this is CSI 21 or whatever, there's no name there. So you have to literally have somebody that was involved in that case saying, I'm the one that got told on. And I'm the one that met the person with the blue car, and he was in the blue car, and this and that, or whatever the case may be. So all of these people are just making assumptions and assuming. Really, people don't really be knowing what the they be talking about. They just be fucking talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I think I saw you at Lil Sodi's funeral. Were you at Lil Sodi's
Yeah.
funeral? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you was there with a nice contingent of Mansfields that came to lend their support
Yeah.
to Lil Sodi from A Trade. Did you ever do any music with him or have?
I didn't know the Lil Sodi.
Okay.
So, again, just like the support, like I'll be out the way, you know what I'm saying? And everybody from my hood know I do music. You know what I'm saying? I'm 48 years old, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like I did my time. I've been to YA. I've been to the pen. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you the same age as Wack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So I've done that already. I'm not involved in that shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I said I'm not involved in anything anymore. But I do have a love for my homies. I do have a love for my neighborhood. They cause I come from a different type of neighborhood. I don't come from the average neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I don't come from a hood with 300 people. You know what I'm saying? With 200 people, I come from a small area.
Close knit.
Close knit. And a lot of them, again, you know, were involved in the music and doing certain things. And I got introduced to music by them. So we wasn't like that's why a lot of my fights in YA was like, oh, y'all rich Crips are, y'all squares over there, this and that, this and that.
Yeah.
Because of the stigma that we get because of where we were raised there, right? So I went, some of my other little homies knew him and was close with him, and I just went in support. Like, let's just all go or whatever the case may be. I didn't know Lil Sodi, but I went to support. You know what I'm saying? I went there and showed my respects. And, of course, I knew other people there that was from A-Trade, because from YA, from, you know, or even in the music industry and just being out and at the clubs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I knew people, but I didn't know Sodi personally, but I still went and paid my respects. My homie went to go pay their respects, and I went with them.
Yeah, that was
Rest in
cool.
peace, Sodi. Rest in peace, Sodi. That's my boy.
You touched on something about your hood and having to fight people because they say you guys come from a rich area. Now, I went to John Burroughs Junior High School in the 80s, and I always say that the Mansfields are the most intense hustler set that I have ever encountered. I never seen anybody wearing Guess clothes, Fila clothes,
Back
K-Swiss
then.
back in the 80s.
That was gangbanging.
And I was like, wow, these kids all come to school fresh, dressed. Like, where are they getting all the money for these clothes? You know, I'm going to school in regular T-shirt and jeans, and I'm seeing guys like Sammy Joe wearing Guess overalls with the corduroys on the front and the jeans on the back, pagers. I'm seeing all these kids from and it was Hustler then. It wasn't even Crip yet.
MFH, yeah.
And I used to just always kind of like admire these kids as a 13-year-old. Like, wow, these kids got money.
Yeah.
And they was hustling though.
Yeah.
They was
Oh
hustling.
yeah, it wasn't coming from their parents.
Exactly, yeah.
Getting money.
I was like, wow. And then I started learning, like, wow, these Mansfields. And then I did an interview for ESPN because they did a story on Javaris Crittendon,
Yeah.
the NBA player that ended up going to prison. And I remember them asking me, why would someone like Javaris be tapped in or tied in with the Mansfields? And I said something like, look, the Mansfields is a hustler community. And if there's anybody that's got like ties to money and they're successful, but they want to hang out in the streets, the Mansfields is the perfect community.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know how Javaris Crittendon, the former Laker, ended up being tapped in and tied in with the Mansfields. He is from Atlanta also.
Yeah.
But dude DM'd me one day from prison. Don't be talking about me, man. I'm a real one. He like he sent me the long ass paragraph, and I was like, bro, I wasn't really talking about you negatively. I was just saying, you know, answering the questions that they was asking me.
But see, that's the thing. Like, so when I was like maybe like 13 years old, do you know Dougie?
Dougie, yeah.
Yeah, Dougie D. So you know he the one that pretty much
Dougie D's probably like my age.
Yeah, he the one that introduced music to the homies. You know what I'm saying? So he had a deal at the time, I think, at Mercury. You know what I'm saying? And he was kind of like, I'm comparing it to him. Somebody else might have he was like, at that time, like what Will Smith was. You know what I'm saying? The music was clean. He was a handsome dude. He had the music like that or whatever.
Bro was always fresh.
Yeah.
His hair was always fresh at all the clubs. If you went out to the clubs in Hollywood, Dougie was there.
Yeah.
Doug was there.
So when I was younger, when I used to go to his house, you know, I had Jada Pinkett and Tashina Arnold and the Wayne brothers and everybody at his house. You know what I'm saying? Puff was at his house. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was doing music at the time, you know, and had a deal and was writing. And you like, if you go on his Instagram now, he got pictures with Kobe Bryant. Not one, but multiple of them that you see that wasn't like I just took a picture with him. It was like this was his friend. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was coming through the hood, like coming to his house. They all signed his door from Heavy D to everybody.
What's his name?
Dougie D.
Yeah.
He's still alive?
Yeah. Yeah, he the one that took Game to Big Chuck, which was Dre's right hand at the time to get Game the deal. You know, Game was signed to my homeboy D-Mac and K-Dog, and I took Game to them. You know what I'm saying?
And D-Mac is another hustler.
Yeah. So, you know, I come from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wasn't even doing music at the time when I was younger. I was just really on my gangbanging shit. And jail saved my life. Like, jail literally saved my life. I got tried as an adult at 16. I learned how to write music in jail. And Jackie Boy from Harlem 30 Crip is the one who taught me how to format music in jail. We used to be freestyling and stuff like that. And I just ended up taking it serious. I knew that I had music ties. And when I came home, D-Mac, Dougie, and K and them was like, yo, what you want to do? And I was like, I want to do music. And then Loon from Bad Boy, he grew up in L.A. back and forth. You know what I'm saying? He was claiming the hood or whatever the case. He actually went to Beverly Hills High, too, when that had the song I Need a Girl with Puff or whatever. So when that song took off, he ended up taking me on tour with him. But I had been knowing him since we was kids or whatever because he was back and forth to, you know, to New York. He a real street dude. His mom was a street person, and I think she used to run with Nicky Barnes. And she was actually on Nicky Barnes' documentary. So the music ties was there, and that's why I say jail saved my life, because I don't think I would have never sat down to learn how to write music or even indulged in that. But I learned how to write music in jail. I wrote the whole time I was in there, and I laid on that bunk, and I came up with every vision I could of me having a deal, doing this, doing that, or whatever the case may be. And I came home, and I told niggas what I was going to do. Some niggas didn't believe me, and I ended up getting a record deal. I ended up doing everything that I said I was gonna do, and it happened for me. You know what I'm saying?
I can't think of his name, but during his interview, like at least two of them, Mansfield came up. He did some time in the feds. He part of Zoe Pound. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, you talking about Zoe?
Okay.
Yeah,
What's his connection with Mansfield? Because when he said it sounded like he was almost trying to be like, yeah, Mansfield. Yeah, he said it with pride. I'm like, okay, he tapped in.
That's because of like the whole music shit with D-Mac and Puff and everybody. Like I said, the music is a small circle, so all of that comes from music. And again, when we go back to the word check in or tap in or whatever the case may be,
I'm over to check in.
When we go back to that, that's when you build relationships with people, that's just who you come deal with. It's not like say for instance, like, okay, I'm from Mansfield, right? But I'm not out shooting nobody. I'm not out killing nobody or doing nothing like that. But I do have affiliation and association with them. So when people come from out of town, that's who I'm hanging with. They come hang with me. They gonna eventually meet some of the homies and like, oh, y'all from out the Mansfields, this and that, this and this. So people knew D-Mac was from out the Mansfields. You know what I'm saying? People knew Dougie was from out the Mansfields. But these are niggas that had record deals and was dealing with the Puffs and the Heavy D's and the Eric Sermons and the Keith Murrays and the Redmans and all of these people, you know what I'm saying? It was business at the end of the day. But because we grew up in the area, it's like, oh, they out the Mansfield. Even Alex Thomas, he'll tell you like, oh, I'm an honorary Mansfield.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he grew up with the homies, you know? It is what it is.
Yeah, I had Alex Thomas here, the comedian, years ago after, I think it was after Ronnie Barron, Looney
Got
killed over there on Pico outside the bar.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him also.
Yeah, he was doing gang intervention.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
out of the Mansfields. And then you mentioned D-Mac. His name always comes up from out the Mansfields. I went to Wilton Place Elementary School with D-Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then we did John Burroughs 3 years. And, you know, John Burroughs was a Mansfield school.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I got there in the 7th
Is it
grade,
still a Mansfield school?
I don't even think, is John Burroughs still open?
yeah, it's still open, but it's
Like a private school or something?
the demographics completely changed. I don't think people.
Yeah, they probably.
I don't know, because I didn't finish junior high or high school.
What junior high school did you go to?
Jail.
Why? But the first, I went to Mount Vernon and got kicked out, and then they tried to send me to Virgil, and I was just like, I'm good.
How'd you end up going to Mount Vernon on this side of Crenshaw, on the other side of Crenshaw?
Because, well, growing up, it was unstable. You know what I'm saying? Family was unstable. My mom was kind of unstable or whatever the case may be. So we kind of, I've always been in West LA basically, but we lived on, we stayed on St. Andrews in Venice though. And then we stayed on St. Andrews in Venice. But I've stayed everywhere in West Los Angeles. I stayed on Venice and Marvin. I stayed on Pico and Redondo. I stayed on Orange Grove. I stayed on Bedford. I stayed on Cheriton. I stayed on, when you're young, you don't know that you're getting evicted. You know what I'm saying? But we was getting evicted out of all these motherfucking places. But when you're a kid, you just think you know what I'm saying? So I've been over here all my life. So I ended up going to Mount Vernon. I got into a fight. They kicked me out and tried to send me to Virgil. And at the time, my auntie was staying on Lafayette Park Place. So I went over there.
With all the Latinos, huh?
That's why I stopped going. Because it was a fight every motherfucking day. Every time a nigga hit the school, it was like, yo, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't too many black kids at Virgil, huh?
And the black kids they was essays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a fight every time. So I was like, you know what? I just was like, fuck school. And I just stopped going to school. So I didn't finish junior high, and I never seen a high school classroom a day in my life.
You know, the very first death that I've ever experienced was I was at John Burroughs, and it was a Mansfield named Chucky
Patterson.
Chucky Patterson.
Yeah.
That got stabbed over there on Olympic and La Brea.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've ever experienced someone getting killed in the streets. And I remember everybody at JB was crying. You know, he was loved. I think he was a little bit older.
Yeah.
But and then I learned I interviewed an OG PBG. Apparently he had a double affiliation. He had
Coco.
Yeah, he was from I interviewed who did I interview from PBG? OG. No, his name was Spider. OG Spider from PBG. Mm-hmm. He talked about growing up with Chucky, but Chucky was also had a name from PBG and he was also from Mansfield. So he had this double affiliation that I was completely unaware of. But I think that was 1984 or 85 when Chucky Patterson got killed.
Yeah.
And he's the first Mansfield, right, to get killed.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I could sit here and talk to you all day long, T-Money. I didn't even get to a couple of topics. I wanted to ask you quickly about your relationship with Joe Moses. I heard you say something earlier about you did some music with him before.
Yeah, so me and Joe Moses, we pretty much like family. He got an uncle, too, that I was close to or whatever. And then, like, Joe kind of grew up over there with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joe been over in West L.A. I think his mom used to live in the schoolyards, if I'm not mistaken.
I know Munch is close to Joe's family.
Yeah. I was close to his uncle. And then he was signed to Akon at one time. And that went through me. And then we just did a song together, too. Like, me and Joe just did a song together.
All right, for the viewers, man, T-Money just played like 4 bangers. You know what I mean? One Busta Rhymes, Joe Moses, Akon. He got some heat over there.
Yeah.
So what's
I let Bus talk me into doing this shit. Yeah.
Coming back to doing?
Yeah, as far as doing the artist thing.
Oh, okay. So before we wrap up, man, if people want to tap in with you, T Money, how can they find you? Are you on social media? How can they reach out?
Yeah, it's the real T Money. People just be putting the T, but it's TEMONEY. So the real T Money. Just my Instagram handle, whatever the case may be. It's the only thing I really know how to do.
And with all this music that you played some music for us earlier off camera, then you mentioned songs that Dolla did that we've never heard. What's the plan with some of the music you got with some of these artists?
Like I said, I just did a situation with Busta. We put out a record. It's called Bait, BAIT. We shot the video to it. We shot half of it in New York.
That's out now?
Yeah, that's out now.
Okay.
We shot half of it in New York, and the project's called the 90s. I think that's where like Bobby Smurder and them is from. But my man Zeke and Busta took me over there. So I shot half of it in the projects, and then I shot half of it right here in our area at the liquor store where they film Menace to Society at. The liquor store, the Menace to Society. We filmed it the other half right there or whatever. So it's out. It's doing pretty good. We just still pushing or whatever the case may be. Like I said, I think my second single is gonna be with Akon, a song called Beautiful Struggle. I'm gonna try to take it serious. I ain't never really take the artist side serious. I do little shit here and there, just because like I said, when Dolla passed, it was like we had a vision and we had like a dream that we and we used to talk about all the time, and I just really want to keep that going. But like I said, I'm used to signing artists and facilitating deals and stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot.
For sure.
Like full-fledged.
I just thought of another historical Mansfield situation. Everyone heard about the 1988 shooting in Westwood where an Asian lady caught a stray bullet and the city went crazy. But that was a Rolling 60s Crip trying to shoot a guy named Tyrone Swain who was from Mansfield.
Oh, yeah, that was before my time.
Yeah, 1988.
I was only 10.
And the problem was L.A. been had gang violence. But that put gang violence on the front page of the L.A. Times. It made it seem like gang violence started that day in 1988. And because she was a student at UCLA, Karen Toshima, and she took a bullet while she was sitting at a bus stop, I believe. And I think the guy he just got out that did that shooting. But apparently the 60s and the Mansfields was bumping heads in Westwood. Westwood used to be the place to go to on the weekends. Yeah. Westwood there's nothing going on in Westwood anymore. That place became dead. But
when I was growing up, that's what we used to like. Century City Plaza.
Was Westwood popping when you was growing up?
Yeah, Century City Plaza, all of this. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, we had access to so much shit growing up, so everybody like, oh, y'all this and that. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was like, it is what it is.
Now, when you go through the Mansfield hood, there's a couple of grimy streets though.
Yeah,
it's not all $1 million homes. There's a few blocks with apartment buildings, rundown buildings. Yeah. I
mean, it was back then. Like when I was growing up, it was like that. I mean, the area was what it was, but even like the Playboys. The Playboys, if you leave the Playboys and go right across the street, is Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
like they all went to Hamilton. You know what I'm saying? That's where Layla Ali went to, and Hana and all of them. You know what I'm saying? Beverly Hills is like right there.
Literally, because their hood is from La Cienega to Robertson.
Yeah, so as soon as you cross Robertson, that's Beverly Hills.
Yeah. I mean, damn, try to buy a house over there on the other side of Robertson. You talking about not $1 million house, multi-million-dollar homes over there. Mm-hmm. But even in, the PBG neighborhood, is the Jewish people are moving back in.
Where we are too. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't be liking to give wrong information, but they took Rascals down on people and they said they building a Jewish school there.
Man, that's crazy. I cannot believe that's the Rascals that Barack Obama went into.
And they took that one down.
Man. They even had pictures of
them. They had the Obama special.
They did.
Yeah. They had the Obama special.
Hey, you ever been to that Rascals Munchie, the one that used to be on Pico and La Brea?
Yeah, I told that story when we got up and walked out.
Oh yeah, you didn't pay the bill.
Yeah,
yeah, I was hurt.
Munchie and them bringing that ghetto shit over there too.
Man, I didn't even want to.
Area.
I was like, man, when they got up, I got up too. Like shit. I was like, damn, I don't ditch my meal. Yeah.
And then is the Okie Dog still there?
Nope.
Oh,
The
wow.
cottage and Okie Dog is gone, but they moved it right down the street. They moved the Okie Dog like right across from Lowe's. It's like right across the street from Lowe's.
Okay, so the Okie Dog is iconic.
Yeah,
For the hood, right? Like that's everybody goes there. I would guess over the years there must have been a little bit of conflict because people always want to dip in real quick that are from other hoods. Let's go to Okie Dog real quick, but that's y'all spot.
Yeah. Okie Dog was our spot right there on Sycamore and Pico.
Yeah.
They got apartment buildings right there.
That's insane.
That's apartment buildings right there. Oh, that whole area is changing. And
Yeah, because that's prime real estate.
yeah,
You know.
that's good though.
Hey, one time I was at the gas station on La Brea. I think it's La Brea in Venice, where they got the taco trucks now.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled in there and I saw one of the Wayans pumping gas right there. You're like, you don't know who you. And then I was at the 7-Eleven, not kind of in Mansfield Hood, and I bumped into Omar Gooding, Cuba Gooding's brother.
Yeah, Omar. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess is he a West LA guy? If you know.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I bumped into his ass in the 7-Eleven. You never know who you're gonna bump into in West LA.
Yeah, it's right there. Everything's right there, man. We in the
it's
middle of
remote.
everything.
It's remotely from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, Munchie B, give out your handles. Let the people know what's up.
Oh man, I just switched my YouTube channel to Munchie B, the mayor. You know what I'm saying? And everybody go subscribe, man. And Instagram MB_ the mayor, THA mayor. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at.
And I want to thank T Money for pulling up, man. I mean, I've known you for a minute now, man.
Yeah.
It's at least a decade, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish you all the success with all the projects you got going on. I really would like to see a documentary on Dolla, and I was also thinking like a documentary on the history of Mansfield, like how it went from hustler to Crip, and like all the entertainment connections that hood. I think Mansfield probably got more entertainment connections than any other hood in LA.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Nah, I think they probably the 60s though. Because they forget about Battle Cats and.
But look, the
CJ
60s
Maxx.
is huge. The 60s is huge. With the Mansfields is probably about a third the size of the 60s.
Yeah.
And they probably got just as much. Like if you do it per
Then you gotta
capita.
think about the claimers, because I don't think was really from 60s. What's the name? The dude name that box Bosco?
You talking about Gonzo?
Yeah, you got the Gonzo.
Well, I think you know what I think. What it is, Munch. I think that the new generation with the 60s, I think they might have a little bit more relationships with the newer.
Right.
But when you're talking about, because even Terrence Howard was claiming Mansfield.
Yeah, you got, man.
I heard that.
Terrence Howard. You had you had NBA players.
No. I seen on an interview with Terrence Howard.
Yeah, so you got where we had ties with like a lot of movie people, a lot of music shit. Like I said, all of them people like with Dougie, from Heavy D to New Edition to Bobby Brown, Mike Tyson, Puff, Biggie, Pac, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like the homies really had like good relationships with these people. You know what I'm saying? So I think the new generation, as far as the relationship, maybe the 60s might have a lot. With ours is old relationships, and then like me, I'm still moving around, so I still have my relationships. But he might be right as far as like now, as far as like the new generation, where like a lot of people tap in.
Yeah, that Nipsey
Not
Hussle.
check in,
Yeah.
tap in.
The
in.
Nipsey Hussle branch is pretty extensive. That All Money In.
Yeah.
Even though Jay Stone ended up going back to jail.
I guess you could use that all money in tree, but I'm just going off of like CJ Maxx and Battle Cats. It was about
And Corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see you and you're right. But you're talking about like for us, like those are people that wasn't, and not saying that was bad, but at the time as far as like that wasn't translating anywhere else really.
Right.
Like
Regional.
Yeah, like wasn't translating in the Southeast market. You
Right,
have people
right.
that did know them, but it's like as far as like, because most of our artists that translate in different places had a vouch from Dre. If we really look at it, or it came from that NWA tree. Like our biggest artists came from that NWA tree. That's why YG said what he said. I'm the only person that made it out the West without Dre. That comment was because every artist that was big, like Snoop is big, Dre. You got Game that was big, Dre, right? Then Ice Cube, the NWA tree. Mac 10, NWA tree. Then Kendrick, Dre, right? Because you got Schoolboy Q, who's nice. You got Absol, that's nice, right? And I'm talking about as far as rap. They're on top dog, and their biggest artist at that time was Kendrick. He's the only person, and J-Rock too. Don't forget about J-Rock, and J-Rock is big too. But as far as like what we seen from like just hella big internationally, superstardom, it came from Dre, which was with Kendrick. The only other person I think that didn't have the Dre vouch that did real good, but we really don't consider him a rapper. It was what's the kid from Compton?
Roddy Ricch.
Roddy Ricch. Yeah. Other than that, everything else came from Dre. If you look at it, and Tyga, but Tyga was with Lil Wayne at the height of their career. You know what I'm saying? With Cash Money, he had a vouch. Other than that, who can we really name that was just like internationally like superstardom big that didn't come from the NWA tree?
That Dr. Dre, NWA branch. Yep, I could agree to that.
And then Munch, you said for a while we haven't had a female artist out of L.A. in a minute, but I've been listening to Doshi. You familiar with her?
Yeah, but Doshi...
We ain't never had no superstar female artist, and we still don't.
Haven't.
But Doshi's nice.
Yeah, she's nice, but she's not a superstar.
She's not from here.
She's not from L.A.?
No, I don't think Doshi is from L.A.
Oh, okay.
She's tying the Top Dog, right?
Yeah.
She hard. I just was in New York, and she performed at the Rolling Stone thing. I think her Glorilla, I was with Busta. She's dope as fuck. But I don't think she's originally from L.A. But that's... but he's right, too, because I don't think she's from L.A. L.A. has never had a Lil' Kim.
Isn't that
Foxy
crazy?
Brown, Nicki
Nicki,
Minaj.
I guess Yo-Yo.
Cardi B.
Yo-Yo's the biggest artist LA's ever had.
Gangster rap. We've never had. Yo-Yo was dope. Of course, we grew up off of Yo-Yo and shit like that. But what I'm saying, as far as like the sex appeal, the being fly, just really talking that shit that ain't like just gangster shit. Because I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like females with gangster rap only last for so long because we end up not really believing you. You see what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you ain't shot that many niggas. You ain't did all of that. Even if you have, you know.
Or even ratchet rap,
You
shaking
see what I'm
ass,
saying?
like, but like, ain't man, California have never had a Nicki, a Cardi, a Lil' Kim,
Or Foxy Brown. We never had that.
ever.
We never had that.
Yeah.
But the Bay Area, it's a girl named Allie Cocaine in the Bay Area. Dope as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And she has that. She kind of remind me like she has the. She's not like sexy, right? But like Eve to me was like had the like how she used to call herself a pit bull in a skirt or whatever the case would be. She's like that. It's like she has the sex appeal, but she's hard too. That's how Eve was. But
Man, I want some things to Eve.
and she's in the Bay Area. She's dope as so motherfuckers should check her out, Ali Cocaine. Other than that, like we haven't Bay Area or LA, we haven't had the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's, the Foxy Browns, and we haven't had that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought Doshi was a L.A.
No, I don't think she's from LA. I think she's from somewhere else. But I might be wrong, but I think she's from somewhere else.
Yeah, we got to tap in. I'm gonna call Smack and ask her.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll tap back in next week. I actually had a fact check from last week. This is a funny fact check, Munchie. Sodomy will get you 6 years in prison, and messing with and lewd and lascivious acts with a 14-year-old will get you 8 years in prison. Remember, we were trying to.
It's both bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
We were talking about.
They let these SA offenders get out and strike again. Yeah. And like I said, I could bust on T-Money, completely miss them, and they try to wash me up.
No, but in terms of which one was worse, I guess the state believes that lewd and lascivious acts with a 14-year-old is worse since you're getting 8 years, and sodomy, you're getting 6 years. And here's another thing, Munch.
Me and Neem was trying to stay away from it.
I know.
We ain't trying to get canceled.
But check this out. Sodomy means anal sex.
No, but ain't no way around it, bro.
I'm telling you, I want a deep dive on this. It's forced sodomy, which is illegal. It's forced sodomy.
Ain't nobody ever gonna use that word.
I'm just saying, sodomy, it just means anal sex. And the reason why you look at it as illegal is because in the Hebrew times, any sex that was not for the purposes of reproducing was illegal.
I don't even read the Bible, so I look at it like that.
Oral sex, that's why oral sex is considered sodomy. Any non-reproductive sex was considered illegal.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that's why sodomy, sounds like it's illegal. But you could just say, yeah, I sodomized my girlfriend.
Nah, hell no.
I'm saying you can say that. It just means you had anal sex with her.
I hit the little butt.
Yeah.
That was it. That's it.
You guys had me thinking that sodomy.
It is, bro.
No, sodomy's legal.
Man.
It's forced sodomy that's illegal.
Meanings of words change, bro. They
All
be
right.
changing.
All right, man.
Well, you better not say it locked up.
Hell no.
All right, that's another Straight Politicking. I want to thank T-Money for pulling up. I'm at all social media platforms, Alex Alonso 101. We're on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple. And if you're listening to us on Apple, please leave a rating and a review. And that wraps up another episode of Straight Politicking. We out.